deserted road, his coat heavy with rain, his eyes stinging from the cold wind, until he stumbled into a forgotten village, silent and lifeless, as though time itself had abandoned it. At the center stood a tall, crumbling church, its cross crooked, its stone walls cracked, and its great wooden doors wide open, as though inviting him in. Though the darkness within seemed deeper than the storm outside. Seeking only shelter, he stepped inside, his footsteps echoing too loudly in the vast hollow space. And at once, the air shifted, thick, heavy, carrying the faint scent of damp wood, mixed with something metallic, something like blood. The pews were broken, splintered like bones, and the windows of stained glass were shattered, leaving only jagged colors that flickered whenever lightning flashed outside. He whispered to himself, trying to stay calm, but his voice was swallowed instantly, as though the church did not want it. As he moved further inside, he noticed the altar still standing, strangely untouched, lined with candles that seemed to have burned recently. Wax dripped fresh and red down the stone, and though no flame burned, a faint glow lingered in the wicks. Then he saw it, movement, soft and slow near the altar, a shadow stretching itself across the wall, though nothing stood there. He froze, his heart thundering, and the shadow grew taller, pulling itself upward until it resembled a human form, long and thin, its head bowed as though in prayer. For a moment, he thought it might only be his imagination, but then it turned, and in the hollow of its face were two faintly glowing sockets, like dying embers peering directly at him. Fear prickled his skin, and he stumbled back, but as he did, the church doors slammed behind him with a force that shook the walls, locking him inside. The silence broke with whispers, soft at first, like many voices murmuring prayers, but they grew clearer, heavier, as though the air itself was speaking. He pressed his hands over his ears, but the words slithered through anyway, strange and reversed, and he could almost feel them inside his chest, crawling like insects beneath his skin. Desperate, he tried to move toward the doors, but the wood was no longer wood. It felt like cold stone under his hands, unyielding, trapping him. Behind him, the whispering grew into a low chant, and when he turned, the figure had stepped away from the wall, its long limbs creaking as it walked toward him, every step echoing unnaturally loud. Panicking, he ran toward the side of the church, where a narrow staircase led upward into the tower. His footsteps thundered on the iron steps as he climbed, but even there, the voices followed, circling him, pressing closer. The higher he went, the colder the air became, until his breath hung white before him. And when he reached the belfry, the massive bell loomed above, cracked and dripping with a black, tar-like liquid that pulsed as though alive. He reached out in a mix of horror and fascination, and the moment his fingers touched the metal, his vision drowned in images, flashes of people tied to pews, their throats cut, their blood pouring onto the altar, their bodies left as offerings. The bell had drunk it all, feeding something ancient that lived within the church walls. Gasping, he staggered back, but the shadows were climbing the stairs now, dozens of them, their eyeless faces tilted upward, their mouths opening in silent screams. The chanting grew deafening. The bell tolled on its own, with a sound that shook his bones, and the wooden beams above split open like a mouth, rows of jagged teeth glistening in the lightning. The man realized too late that the church was not a sanctuary, but a living thing, a cathedral built not to worship, but to consume. As the shadows closed in and the floor beneath him cracked, revealing an endless pit of writhing, whispering forms, he screamed, the sound swallowed instantly by the tolling bell. And outside, in the storm, the village remained silent, the church standing tall and still, its doors slowly creaking open again, waiting for the next soul to enter.